Listen closely. Venus conjunct Lilith on September 10th represents one of the most provocative and transformative cosmic events of the year. This rare alignment occurs when Venus, the planet of love, beauty, and values, merges exactly with Lilith, the dark moon representing our wild, untamed feminine power and repressed desires. When these two celestial forces unite, they create a portal of profound awakening that challenges everything we thought we knew about love, attraction, and personal worth. This conjunction is particularly potent because it happens in Scorpio, the sign of transformation, hidden truths, and psychological depths. Scorpio energy penetrates beneath surface appearances to reveal what lies hidden in the shadows of our psyche. When Venus and Lilith meet in this intense water sign, the result is an explosive revelation of authentic desire that refuses to be contained by social expectations or conventional relationship norms. The astronomical rarity of this event cannot be overstated. Venus conjunct Lilith occurs approximately once every 8 months, but when it happens in Scorpio, the transformative impact multiplies exponentially. Scorpio's fixed water energy acts as a magnifying lens, intensifying every emotion, every hidden longing, and every suppressed aspect of our romantic and creative nature. This is not a gentle awakening, but a volcanic eruption of truth that demands immediate attention and authentic response. Venus in Scorpio already carries tremendous power. This placement transforms the typically harmonious Venus energy into something fierce and uncompromising. Venus in Scorpio doesn't want surface-level attraction or polite romantic gestures. She craves soul-deep connection, transformative intimacy, and the kind of love that changes you at a cellular level. When Lilith joins this already intense energy, the result is a cosmic demand for absolute authenticity in all matters of the heart. Lilith represents the part of our psyche that refuses to be tamed, domesticated, or made acceptable for public consumption. She is raw feminine power in its most primal form, the aspect of ourselves that knows exactly what it wants and refuses to apologize for those desires. In Scorpio, Lilith becomes even more potent, operating from the deepest layers of our unconscious mind, where our most authentic impulses reside. The conjunction creates a perfect storm of revelation, where hidden desires surface with unstoppable force. Relationships that have been maintained through compromise and people-pleasing suddenly feel suffocating. The mask of social acceptability becomes unbearably heavy. The gap between who you are in public and who you are in your most private moments becomes a chasm that can no longer be ignored. This cosmic event affects each zodiac sign differently, but the overarching theme remains consistent across all signs. The universe is calling for radical honesty about what you truly desire, not what you think you should desire. It's demanding that you acknowledge the parts of yourself that you've kept hidden, even from your closest relationships. The conjunction asks the most challenging question of all. Are you living your truth or performing a version of yourself that others find more acceptable? For fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, this conjunction ignites a revolution in how you approach passion and creative expression. Your natural boldness receives a dose of Scorpio intensity that can feel overwhelming, but ultimately liberating. The conjunction challenges you to move beyond surface-level attractions and dive deep into what truly sets your soul on fire. You may find yourself drawn to people or experiences that your rational mind considers inappropriate or risky, but your intuition recognizes as essential for your growth. Earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, experience this conjunction as a fundamental shakeup of your value system and approach to security. Your typically practical approach to relationships and resources gets infiltrated by Scorpio's demand for emotional depth and transformation. You may find yourself questioning whether the stability you've built is actually serving your highest good, or simply keeping you trapped in patterns that no longer fit who you're becoming. Air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, feel this conjunction as a call to move beyond intellectual understanding into embodied experience. Your natural tendency to analyze and rationalize relationships gets challenged by Scorpio's insistence on feeling everything fully. The conjunction forces you to acknowledge that some truths can only be understood through direct experience, not mental processing. You may find yourself craving deeper, more intense connections that challenge your usual preference for light and breezy interactions. Water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, experience this conjunction as a homecoming to your deepest emotional truth. The intensity of Venus conjunct Lilith in Scorpio feels familiar yet overwhelming, like returning to a powerful place you'd forgotten existed. This conjunction amplifies your natural psychic sensitivity and emotional depth, potentially bringing prophetic dreams, intense intuitive insights, and a magnetic pull toward transformative experiences. The timing of this conjunction on September 10th is significant because it occurs during a period of intense cosmic activity. The autumn season brings natural themes of harvest, release, and preparation for transformation. This Venus-Lilith conjunction acts as a catalyst for the deeper changes that the season demands. It's as if the universe is saying that before you can move forward into the next phase of your evolution, you must first acknowledge and integrate the shadow aspects of your desires and relationships. I want to hear about your personal experience with this powerful energy. Share in the comments below your zodiac sign and tell me about a time when you felt called to choose authentic desire over social acceptance. What happened when you honored your deepest truth instead of playing it safe? Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to find the courage for their own transformation. The psychological impact of this conjunction extends far beyond romantic relationships, though that's often where we feel it most acutely. Venus rules our entire value system, including how we relate to money, beauty, creativity, and self-worth. When Lilith joins Venus in Scorpio, every area governed by Venus gets subjected to Scorpio's X-ray vision and Lilith's demand for authenticity. In the realm of creativity, this conjunction can unleash artistic expression that's been suppressed due to fear of judgment or social disapproval. You may find yourself drawn to create work that's darker, more provocative, or more personally revealing than anything you've produced before. The conjunction doesn't just encourage this creative courage, it demands it. The cost of continuing to create safe, sanitized art becomes too high for your soul to bear. Financially, Venus conjunct Lilith in Scorpio can trigger a complete reevaluation of your relationship with money and material possessions. You may suddenly see how your spending habits have been driven by a desire to maintain an image rather than support your authentic needs. The conjunction can bring either financial windfalls through embracing your true talents or financial losses through the collapse of income streams that required you to compromise your integrity. The conjunction's impact on self-worth is perhaps its most profound effect. Lilith in Scorpio refuses to derive value from external validation. She knows her worth from an internal source that can't be shaken by others' opinions or approval. When she merges with Venus, the planet of self-esteem and personal value, the result is a fundamental rewiring of how you understand your own worth. This process isn't gentle. You may experience periods of feeling completely worthless as old sources of validation crumble, followed by moments of recognizing an unshakable core of self-value that doesn't depend on anyone else's opinion. The conjunction strips away false sources of self-esteem to reveal the bedrock of authentic self-worth that was always there, but got buried under layers of social conditioning. Relationship dynamics undergo the most dramatic transformation during this conjunction. Partnerships that have been built on mutual people-pleasing or maintaining a perfect image suddenly feel suffocating. The conjunction brings an irresistible urge to tell the truth about what you really want, need, and desire in relationships, even if that truth threatens the status quo. For some, this means finally having conversations about needs that have been suppressed for years. For others, it means recognizing that certain relationships can only exist when both parties are performing sanitized versions of themselves. The conjunction doesn't necessarily end relationships, but it does end the illusion that surface-level harmony is the same as genuine compatibility. Single individuals may find themselves attracted to people who would have seemed completely wrong for them before the conjunction. Lilith's influence breaks down the barriers of type and social acceptability, drawing you toward connections that feed your soul rather than boost your image. These attractions may feel dangerous or inappropriate, but they often point toward aspects of yourself that need integration and expression. The conjunction also activates what astrologers call the shadow of Venus. While Venus typically represents harmony, beauty, and pleasant social connections, her shadow includes jealousy, possessiveness, manipulation through charm, and the use of beauty or sexuality as a weapon. Lilith's presence brings these shadow qualities to the surface not to shame them, but to integrate them consciously. You may find yourself experiencing jealousy with an intensity that surprises you, or recognizing how you've used your attractiveness to manipulate situations to your advantage. Rather than judging these discoveries, the conjunction asks you to acknowledge these aspects of your nature and find healthy ways to express them. Jealousy, for instance, often points toward desires we haven't admitted to ourselves. Possessiveness can indicate a need for deeper security and commitment. The transformative power of Venus conjunct Lilith in Scorpio extends to how we understand feminine energy itself. Regardless of gender, we all carry both masculine and feminine energies within our psyche. The feminine principle includes receptivity, intuition, emotional depth, and the power of creation and destruction. Modern society often demands that we express only the acceptable aspects of feminine energy, the nurturing, accommodating, and aesthetically pleasing parts. Lilith represents the aspects of feminine power that make society uncomfortable: the fierce protectiveness, the sexual autonomy, the refusal to be controlled or diminished, the power to say no without explanation or apology. When she joins Venus in Scorpio, these suppressed aspects of feminine energy demand recognition and expression. This can manifest as a sudden inability to tolerate disrespectful treatment, an overwhelming urge to speak truth even when it makes others uncomfortable, or a recognition of your own power that feels both thrilling and terrifying. The conjunction asks you to reclaim all aspects of your feminine nature, not just the ones that make others feel safe and comfortable. The timing of this conjunction in early autumn adds another layer of significance. September represents the transition from the expansive energy of summer to the introspective energy of fall. It's a time of harvest when we gather the fruits of our efforts and prepare for the deeper inner work of winter. Venus conjunct Lilith in Scorpio acts as a cosmic harvest of truth, forcing us to acknowledge what we've actually been growing in the garden of our relationships and values. The conjunction may reveal that some of what you thought was growing beautifully was actually just elaborate camouflage for deeper issues. Relationships that looked perfect on the surface may show signs of root rot. Career paths that seemed successful may feel empty and unfulfilling. The conjunction's gift is the clarity to see what's actually thriving versus what's merely surviving on life support. This cosmic event also carries themes of ancestral healing, particularly around feminine lineage and inherited patterns of relationship and self-worth. Scorpio energy has a natural connection to ancestral wisdom and generational healing. When Venus and Lilith meet in this sign, they often activate awareness of patterns that have been passed down through family lines, particularly patterns around how women in your family have related to their own power, sexuality, and autonomy. You may find yourself understanding your mother, grandmother, or other female ancestors in new ways, recognizing how they navigated the tension between authentic desire and social expectations. This understanding can bring both compassion for their choices and determination to break cycles that no longer serve your generation. The healing potential of this conjunction is enormous, reaching into the deepest recesses of your soul where the most profound transformations await. But it requires tremendous courage to face truths that may have been buried for good reason. These aren't just uncomfortable realizations about surface-level behaviors or temporary relationship dynamics. Scorpio energy doesn't just reveal surface-level insights or offer gentle nudges toward growth. It excavates the deepest layers of our psyche with the precision of an archaeological dig, uncovering the buried foundations where our most fundamental beliefs about love, worth, and power have been constructed over lifetimes. This cosmic excavation process can feel both exhilarating and terrifying as layers of conditioning, inherited patterns, and protective mechanisms are stripped away to reveal the raw truth of who you are beneath all the armor you've accumulated. The conjunction may bring up vivid memories from childhood that suddenly make sense of current relationship patterns, prophetic dreams that offer glimpses into your soul's deepest longings, or sudden intuitive insights that illuminate why you developed certain patterns of relating and self-protection. You might find yourself understanding for the first time why you consistently attract certain types of partners, why you sabotage yourself at particular moments of success, or why certain expressions of love feel threatening rather than nourishing. These revelations often arrive not as gentle whispers, but as lightning bolts of recognition that can temporarily destabilize your entire understanding of yourself and your relationships. The memories that surface might include moments when you first learned to hide your true desires, when you decided that certain aspects of yourself were unacceptable, or when you unconsciously absorbed limiting beliefs about what you deserved in love and life. The dreams that come during this period often carry the symbolic language of the unconscious, presenting scenarios that reveal hidden fears, suppressed desires, or soul-level truths about your twin flame connection that your conscious mind has been unable or unwilling to acknowledge. As this powerful cosmic event approaches its exact conjunction, the energy builds like a pressure cooker of truth that can no longer be contained, creating an atmosphere of intense anticipation and inevitable revelation. The days leading up to September 10th may feel like standing at the edge of a cliff, knowing that a leap is inevitable but uncertain about what lies below. The energy intensifies progressively, with emotions running high and situations reaching crisis points that demand authentic response rather than the diplomatic avoidance or people-pleasing strategies that may have served as protection in the past. You might find that conversations become more charged, that superficial interactions feel increasingly unbearable, and that the gap between what you're saying and what you're actually feeling becomes a source of almost physical discomfort. Relationships that have been operating on unspoken agreements or polite pretenses may suddenly demand complete honesty or face dissolution. The pressure builds not just internally, but in your external circumstances, as if the universe is conspiring to create situations where authenticity becomes the only viable option. This period can feel like being caught in an emotional storm where the usual anchors of routine, distraction, or rationalization no longer provide stability. Sleep patterns may be disrupted by intense dreams or sudden awakenings with profound realizations. Your body might respond to this energetic intensity with symptoms that seem to have no physical cause, as if your cellular structure is reorganizing itself to accommodate new levels of truth and authenticity. The key to navigating this energy successfully lies in embracing rather than resisting the revelations that arise, treating each uncomfortable truth as a gift rather than a threat to your carefully constructed sense of self. Fighting against the truths that emerge only creates more internal conflict and external drama, like trying to hold back a tidal wave with your bare hands. The conjunction rewards honesty, even when that honesty initially creates discomfort, disruption, or challenges to relationships and situations that have provided a sense of security. This means developing the courage to sit with uncomfortable emotions without immediately trying to fix, change, or escape them. It means allowing yourself to feel anger without immediately apologizing for it, to acknowledge desire without instantly judging it as inappropriate, and to recognize your own power without diminishing it to make others comfortable. The energy of this conjunction supports radical self-acceptance, but this acceptance often requires first acknowledging aspects of yourself that you've been trained to see as unacceptable. The resistance to these revelations often comes not from the truths themselves, but from fear of what acknowledging them might require you to change in your life. There's a part of the psyche that would rather maintain familiar suffering than risk the unknown territory that comes with living authentically. This conjunction challenges that preference for familiar limitation over authentic expansion. This is not a time for making major life decisions based on temporary emotional intensity, as the heightened energy can make everything feel more urgent and dramatic than it actually is. But it is absolutely a time for acknowledging truths that can inform much better decisions once the energy settles and integration begins. The insights gained during Venus conjunct Lilith in Scorpio often prove to be remarkably accurate and valuable, even if they initially feel overwhelming, inconvenient, or threatening to the status quo you've worked so hard to maintain. Think of this period as gathering essential intelligence about your own psyche and desires, rather than as a time for immediate action based on emotional intensity. The revelations that come may require time to fully understand and integrate before they can be translated into wise action. Some truths need to be lived with for a while before their full implications become clear, and some desires need to be acknowledged and honored internally before they can be expressed authentically in the external world. The temptation during this intense period may be to make dramatic gestures or sudden changes to relieve the pressure of newly acknowledged truths. But the real transformation happens through the slower process of allowing these revelations to reshape your understanding of yourself and what you truly want from life and love. The aftermath of this conjunction typically brings a profound sense of relief and clarity that makes the temporary discomfort not just worthwhile, but deeply appreciated, like emerging from a dark tunnel into brilliant sunlight. Once hidden truths are acknowledged and integrated rather than fought or suppressed, relationships become more authentic because they're based on who you actually are rather than who you think you should be. Creative expression becomes more powerful because it's fueled by genuine passion rather than external expectations or inherited ideas about what's appropriate or acceptable. Self-worth becomes more stable and unshakable because it's based on truth and self-acceptance rather than performance, achievement, or the approval of others. This shift from external validation to internal knowing creates a foundation for relationships and creative expression that can weather challenges because it's rooted in authenticity rather than image management. The relief that comes after this conjunction often surprises people with its intensity. Many discover that the truths they were so afraid to acknowledge were not nearly as threatening as the energy required to keep them hidden. The exhaustion of maintaining false personas or suppressing authentic desires often only becomes apparent when that burden is finally released. Venus conjunct Lilith in Scorpio on September 10th represents a rare and precious opportunity for profound transformation in how you understand and express your deepest desires, offering a cosmic reset button for your relationship with your own authenticity. This cosmic event doesn't promise easy answers or comfortable revelations that fit neatly into existing belief systems, but it offers something far more valuable and lasting: the chance to align your outer life with your inner truth in ways that create genuine fulfillment and authentic power, rather than the hollow satisfaction that comes from meeting external expectations. This alignment between inner truth and outer expression is what creates the magnetic authenticity that draws your twin flame connection into greater harmony and depth. When you're operating from genuine desire rather than conditioned responses, when you're expressing authentic power rather than defensive control, and when you're loving from truth rather than need, the entire energetic signature of your twin flame journey shifts into a higher octave of possibility. The transformation offered by this conjunction extends beyond personal healing into the realm of collective consciousness, as each person who chooses authenticity over performance contributes to a global shift toward greater truth and genuine connection. Your willingness to face your own shadows and embrace your authentic desires gives others permission to do the same, creating ripples of transformation that extend far beyond your immediate experience. The question this conjunction asks is simple but profound, cutting through layers of conditioning and social programming to reach the core of your being. Are you brave enough to want what you actually want? Are you willing to love and be loved for who you really are rather than who you think you should be, who others expect you to be, or who feels safest to be? The cosmic energies of September 10th support those who choose authenticity over acceptability, truth over performance, and genuine transformation over comfortable stagnation. But they require the courage to step into unknown territory where the only map is your own inner knowing. This is ultimately an invitation to trust yourself at the deepest level, to believe that your authentic desires are not selfish or wrong, but are actually the compass that leads you toward your highest expression and deepest fulfillment. The conjunction asks whether you're ready to stop apologizing for who you are and start celebrating the unique gift that your authentic self brings to the world and to your twin flame connection. This rare celestial alignment marks a turning point where the cost of hiding your true nature becomes higher than the risk of revealing it. Venus conjunct Lilith in Scorpio doesn't just invite transformation, it demands it. And those who answer this cosmic call will find themselves stepping into a more powerful and authentic version of themselves than they ever thought possible.